Hey there, welcome to the show. Alan Smith here at Moss Mountain Farm in the vegetable garden. Why do I love this garden so much? Well, because there's so much in it to eat and I love to eat. I wrote a cookbook several years ago, and I spent a lot of time in that cookbook, but I also spent a lot of time coming up with new recipes. Now, one of the things that's so interesting is people are constantly surprised that I like to eat flowers. Yeah, like that, okay? Not a big deal, right? So the flower is just that part of the plant that precedes the fruit. Now you want to be careful what flowers you eat, correct? Well, I just want to walk through the early vegetable garden. What I mean by that is the early spring vegetable garden, because there's a wide array of edible flowers right here in this very diverse vegetable garden. Now before we go any further, I want to quickly recognize our garden tour sponsors. A big thank you to Gilbert H. Wild & Son, Sunpatiens, Arkansas Parks and Tourism, Ralston Family Farms, and First Community Bank. These tours would not be possible without them. Check out our sponsor page on my website, pallansmith.com, for more information. This is a little Viola. It's in the Pansy family, and it is delicious. They've got a slight sort of fresh green peppery flavor to them. And then of course here's the classic pansy with its little face, a cousin to the viola. And you can see that the petals here are they're very large, and that would be very beautiful on any salad. Nice. Now, I don't advise that you do this at home unless you are all organic, just like we are. I can come out here and graze on whatever I like because we don't use any hard chemicals. We use beneficial insects to take care of problems, and we use all natural controls. Let's keep walking and talking about some of these flowers that are edible that you can enjoy. I typically like to use them in salads. You can see the long rows here in the vegetable garden that define the center aisle. That's where we plant out a lot of flowers, mainly for beauty, but also for diversity. Having a wide range of herbs and flowers among the vegetables makes this an extremely diverse garden. So I'm going to move along here and talk about herbs for just a minute. I've created some rosemary hedges here, and if we look a little closer, you'll see that some of the rosemary is actually in bloom. We'll walk around here and actually eat on the way. These are a multiplying onion, and you can see they have these beautiful blooms on them. And each one of those little flowers, again, imagine that on top of a soup. Imagine this in a salad, very oniony as you might expect. Even the little flower buds, look at those. Those are little flavor bombs that will just go off in your mouth. I have garlic breath, but I love garlic. So there's another one. We talked about pansies. We talked about the blooms of onions are so good. And then as we move over here, I want you to see the rosemary. Look at these gorgeous flowers of the rosemary. The honeybees are on it, but look at these beautiful flowers. Tiny, they're almost orchid-like. And these are edible as well. Makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, we use rosemary in lots of things. But imagine just doing a grilled chicken with rosemary and then just sprinkling a few of these little buds, either the flower buds, the tiny little buds, for a little burst of flavor, or that gorgeous little flower itself. Very nice. All right, that's three that you can grow in your garden. Another one is the pea. You love English peas. I do. The tendrils of the peas are very good. The flowers of the peas are delicious. There's another one to think about. And then I want to talk about these brassicas. Now, brassica is a term we use for a category of plants that include collards and cabbage and kale and broccoli and cauliflower. And so you can see here, these collard greens are beginning to bolt. And you can see this beautiful pale yellow flower and these buds here, and they are crunchy and delicious. So as temperatures warm, your brassicas will tend to bolt, meaning they're shooting up a flower stalk. They're going to produce seed from these flowers. But before that, you can take those buds and those flowers and eat them. The other one, which is a little darker yellow here, come from the mustard. It's a mustard plant. We love mustard greens here, and the same applies. You can eat the open flower, or look at the little buds right at the tip. Just right there at the tip. These are all edibles. Now, I'm losing track, but I want to show you at least, talk about 10 of them. Another plant that we love to grow here is the Nasturtium. Classic, right? A lot of people will put the flower on a plate, and I love to see how they grow across the paths. We line the paths with them here. But the flower buds, they look like little tiny capers, and those flower buds are very, very delicious with the Nasturtium. And the Nasturtium has a very distinct peppery taste to it. I think allowing a lot of these plants to go to flower adds so much beauty and soul to a vegetable garden. I'm not too fussy about what grows together. In fact, I like sort of this conspiracy that can occur with all these plants coming up in the same bed. Look across here and you can see the flowers of the brassicas and the mustard. These various shades of yellow are really quite beautiful. And then the light colored flowers here of these multiplying onions. We use these to border the beds. So using rosemary, onions, these very functional plants as borders really makes the garden, I think, look more interesting and also useful, because these are things that we use in the kitchen all the time. Let's walk over here for just a moment. I want to talk about some of our blackberries. They're just now in flower. Now, I'm not sure that I want to pluck too many blooms off of them, but they're just so beautiful. This is the thing that I want you to see. If I pull each of these flowers off, then I won't have a berry. But the pollinators have been hard at work on these blooms, which I think are extraordinarily beautiful. If you look at a blackberry bloom closely, they look like tiny roses, and that's because they're in the rose family. Now you can see I just gave up 3 delicious blackberries to show you these beautiful flowers. These are the buds, and they're indeed edible. I don't think they have that great of a taste. They're slightly bitter, but look at the complexity of that flower. I would tend to use these more as a garnish. Now, you know rose petals are edible, and the blackberry is in the rose family. And this particular variety is a thornless one that produces enormous blackberries. And we've had these here for almost 9 years, and every year they produce quite heavily because of our honeybees. They really work over these blooms and make sure we get a fully pollinated flower set that then produces a lot of fruit. Now, another plant that just comes to mind, we've got way over on the other side of the garden, which makes a beautiful border, are chives. Just taking chives, they're purple, they bloom this time of year, and the blooms of chives are delicious in salads and on soups and also as a garnish. Now I want to bring your focus back to these bordered beds here, because I want to go back a few weeks in spring, because we're talking about spring edibles, all right? Now, we all love tulips. I've never met anyone that didn't love tulips. Did you know the tulip is edible? Those beautiful big blooms are actually edible, the petals, and they're gorgeous in salads. And what we do every year is we line this walkway with different colors of tulips, and they grow so beautifully with the companion plants, mainly the pansies, the violas, the snapdragons that we have growing here, things that can take cool weather. The other thing I want to leave you with, now that's 10. That's 10 edible flowers that you can grow in the spring garden, okay? Now, one more as a bonus I want you to consider, and that's the radish bloom. We talked about the cabbage and the kale, the brassicas bolting in those yellow colors. Your radishes will also bolt, and they produce a beautiful pink flower. So think about letting a few of those radishes fully mature. They'll put up a stalk from that leafy basal foliage from the root, put up a stalk, and they'll have these really light pink flowers on them, really quite beautiful and ethereal in the garden. Once they finish flowering, just pull them up and start planting your summer vegetables. Now, a little later in the season, when we're in full summer, we're going to make the same tour, and we're going to talk about 10 of my favorite summer flowers to eat. All right, thank you so much for joining me in the garden today. A little quick spin here at Moss Mountain Farm around the vegetable garden focused on edibles. Come see us. We'd love to see you here at the farm and take a tour firsthand. Also, thank you for following us and watching our episodes on YouTube. Make sure you like this video if you don't mind, and subscribe, and also ring the bell so you get notifications on episodes as we post them. All right, come see us. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and be sure to ring the bell for notifications.